Good afternoon. I'm Jeff Hawk, and this is the New York Real Estate Power Players podcast. I'm a commercial real estate broker, also involved in property technology, social media, and I'm very pleased to welcome to the show today my friend and guest, Brandon Gidicsin. Welcome to the show, Brandon.
Jeff, thank you for having me, my good sir. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's me too. I'm happy we're able to do the show, and I want to talk about how we got to know each other, and we're both involved in some really interesting causes. So it's going to be a great program. So I got to know you about a year or so ago, maybe longer now, when we met in the commercial real estate world. We both were involved in that. I'm still there, and earlier on, I think we first met when you were at a charity event related to Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. It's both something that's close to us, but for the benefit of the audience, introduce yourself and talk about your journey through commercial real estate and now what you're doing with your current company.
Yeah. So thank you so much for that very eloquent introduction, Jeff. So at one point, I was a commercial real estate broker. I was a commercial real estate broker for about a year. From let's see, it was May of 2019 until about April of 2020. So just under a year. Was working for a small brokerage on Long Island, dealing specifically with office space leasing. I wanted to pivot just because I didn't see that specific sector at that time to be very fruitful with the pandemic striking.
Sure.
So I made a pivot. There was about 6 months in between until I found my current role, which is with the Junk Luggers. For those less acquainted, we are an eco-friendly junk and furniture removal service based out of Stamford, Connecticut.
It's interesting. So you must come across some interesting projects in that field. I'm sure you've seen some real interesting things on the way out of particular homes and businesses and buildings. What stands out in your mind on an interesting project so far?
Yeah, so one sticks out like a sore thumb. We did a job for a hoarder, and our trucks are about 15 cubic yards, so that's the size of a standard dumpster, essentially. And we did a job, and I believe it was 40 truckloads worth of stuff, and it was a lot of books, 40 truckloads worth. Luckily, we partner with charities like Habitat for Humanity, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and other organizations like that. So they all went to a great cause, but 40 truckloads worth of books. I love to read, but certainly not to that extent.
That's an awful lot of reading. That's for darn sure. So I think one of the things that really has brought us personally together is our charity work. And last year in 2020, I was involved with Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. There's a Man of the Year campaign. And for people that don't know about it, basically men and women from the region, Long Island, the city, tri-state area get involved. And in a 10-week philanthropic campaign, we try to compete and raise as much money as we can and also bring awareness to the charity. So, when I was involved with it, it was very difficult because I was the first group that was going through the fundraiser in the middle of a pandemic. And now, you're in a class also doing it in 21. You're still dealing with the pandemic also. But I want to have you talk about, how you got involved with it, why you got affiliated with the charity, and what's your mission statement? Why is Leukemia and Lymphoma Society important to you?
Absolutely, Jeff. So first and foremost, I'm a firm believer in the saying that your service to others is the rent you pay for your room on earth. So I do think that everyone should be charity minded and have, I don't want to say the urge, but there should be something inside of them that makes them want to help people. So with that being said, we're close really based on the premise. I wouldn't say necessarily because of our real estate background. I mean, it certainly does bring people close if we have a similar profession, essentially.
Sure.
But you know, if if we're both involved within charities, I think that always brings people very close together. But especially if it's the exact same charity,
Mhm.
Um, but specifically, the reason why I'm involved with this amazing organization is due to my father passing away from cancer, unfortunately.
Mm.
So I was 10 years old, and he passed away from um, a type of cancer called Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a form of blood cancer. With that being said, that is one of the cancers that the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is trying to eradicate. So there was really no better organization that gave me a chance to, help commemorate my dad,
Sure.
and help raise awareness like LLS. So that's really why I'm involved, and just
Yeah.
very, very passionate about this organization.
Yeah, it's 100%. I've had a great experience with them also and running the campaign. And I got involved for a similar reason. I had lost my father to leukemia, chronic myelogenous leukemia, when I was 20 years old. I was coming out of college around the time that he had passed away, actually a junior in college. And when I got involved with the campaign last year, I was 47 years old. And when he passed away, he was 47. So I had the same exact reason. I did it for his merit and his memory, and we brought a lot of great awareness to the charity. I think what people look at a lot of times, a lot of our competitors, they may or may not have a strong mission connection like we did, and the campaign really stretches you in a lot of different ways. I think one of the things that people get exposed to is team leadership, planning, putting together different events. I think there's other aspects where it helps you to build your professional network. Uh, and you're also, besides the competitive part of it, you're really acting as a brand ambassador. You're working on behalf of the charity, and you're bringing awareness to leukemia and lymphoma that may or may not be known by everyone. We have a taste of it because it was in our families, but not everyone does. I think generally, as you get into the campaign, you see people that, and a lot of people start talking to you about, they had family members that had cancer. Some people that you didn't even realize they themselves had it. So it's touched a lot of people, and it's a great way to bring awareness to helping others. The other thing that's amazing about LLS is the work that they're doing to get drugs approved and other things. It transcends blood cancer. It could help other cancers like breast cancer, brain cancer, lung cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic. So it's really important for people to get behind this and help out as much as they can. It's really a great organization, and they're helping tons and tons of people. So commend you for getting involved, and your father definitely would be proud of your involvement here. I could tell you that much.
Yeah, Jeff, thank you very, very, very much for the compliment. And you explained the organization extremely eloquently. So I'm going to have to steal a few of those words and phrases which you've,
Yeah,
mentioned to me.
please do,
Yeah.
please do. So in the running of the campaign, talk a little bit about your team. How large is your team, and who are the people on the team, and what type of things are you going to try to do over the next 10 weeks? And I will in a little bit also put up a banner with your pages, and we'll talk about what goes on with online and donating. But talk about the team. Who are they? How do you know them? And what are you going to try to do over the next 10 weeks?
Sure. So unfortunately, I don't have that Excel spreadsheet adjacent to me with my team roster. However, I have a relatively good memory. Um,
Okay.
so with that being said, the name of my team is Rise Together and Raise. Um, Wanted to do something around something with my dad's name or his involvement with the sport of tennis, because he was a really avid player. He was actually ranked 44 in the country. So I wanted to do something with that initially, but I just couldn't think of a play on words. So it became Rise Together and Raise. And I thought that was a great name because we should all rise together, and help one another. And then we're here to raise funds for this organization.
Yeah.
So that's the name of my team. And we have about 30 team members, but I would say 20 of them are really active. So we have 20 that are really active. I met a lot of them actually through an organization called the Unicorn Network, and that's ran by someone named Jillian Weston.
Sure.
And I was actually on her fundraising team last year. So she ran a fundraising team, and I was on her team. We raised a lot of money, close to $60,000, which was pretty phenomenal, considering that there was a pandemic, among us. So a lot of the members I met through that networking organization. A few of them I met through LinkedIn. I have a few people that I went to college with, a few people that I went to high school with, and I think a few from Chamber of Commerce. So it's pretty spread out, but
Yeah.
most of it is through various networking organizations or.
I think it's great if you have a different cross section of people from different parts of your life and professional, personal, family, friends. It really adds to it. It kind of makes it exciting because people know you from different perspective, and
Yeah.
they each bring different experience. I tried to get people that had social media background, had large networks themselves, different industries. So yeah, it's super to have a great group behind you, and I think that's one of the keys to being successful in doing the campaign. I think the other thing, and you touched on it a little bit, I'm going to put the banner up also so people can see your page, but it's the use of social media. So
Yes.
we're in 2021's April now. We have still a lot of people stuck in their homes. They're not back doing traditional events. They're not going to galas or banquets. So in order to really do this campaign, you have to rely on social media. So the link that I put on the screen, that's your own personal donating page or donation page. But talk about how you're using some of the other channels like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn to get the word out. How you doing it?
Sure. Excellent question. So obviously, social media is a great platform, right? Because that's where you have most of your network. Like that's where you have access to them. That's where they're seeing a bunch of your content. And what's great about social media is if a person likes it, if they comment on it, your content is essentially seen by all of their networks, right? And they're engaging on your content. So it could really help amplify what you're posting out there. And it's truly phenomenal. Specifically with me, LinkedIn has been really great. I've been consistent on it for just over a year, trying to post at least 4 times a week. So I'm staying top of mind with people. And every time that I network and that I meet a new person, I always add them on LinkedIn. Always add them on LinkedIn right after the conversation. So that's how I've really been able to expand my network. And now that I'm involved with this fundraising campaign, every time I post something on social media, since I do have a pretty big following on there, it's seen by a lot more people than it would have, say, last year, for example. So it's much easier to raise funds like that.
Yeah.
And just like you had mentioned, really the types of people that you're friends with and that you're connected with, right? If you have people that have these vast networks and they're engaging on your posts,
Mhm.
it's being seen by a much larger audience. So I would say two things, just to have a big network, which is much easier said than done, right?
Yeah,
Because it takes a lot of hard work, it
that's
takes showing up, and it takes consistency.
100%.
Um, but if you have a relatively big network with quality people and you're consistent, just posting on social media is so huge, especially for fundraising.
Yeah, I would agree. The other thing that I would say, and it's true of the fundraiser and it's true of business, you have to understand that there's different people in different channels. So LinkedIn, we would agree it's a more business oriented network. I absolutely love it. I find it to be amazing. It's very uplifting. It's inspirational. It's educational. Honestly, I wish I could make a job of just being on there all day. That's how much I love it. And, I'm a big networker also, as you know. So the work that you're going to do there and some of the messaging may be different than what you do on Facebook and Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat or Twitter. But I think the trick in doing this and help to get the word out, whether it's the charity or your business, is really being across all the different platforms, understand who your audience is, and kind of give them content and context that makes sense. So, one of the things that I found in the course of doing the campaign that was very effective was using Facebook. A lot of people are on there. It's a little bit lighter in certain regards. The facility to use the links that the charity gave on Facebook worked out really, really well. So it's a great vehicle to get the word out. And, there, I think fundraising is probably a little bit more widely seen. So, you see GoFundMe campaigns for
Mhm.
different things. And I would encourage you to really spend a lot of time there. The other thing that I found to be successful, and, this is for our audience, and definitely make it known to Brandon if you want to participate, do you work in a corporation? Corporations are very generous about gift matching. The LS is a national charity. So if your donors are working at companies like a Chase or a KPMG or an Amazon where they have gift matching, if they put in $100, it could be $200. So, make sure that people are aware of that. Talk that up a lot, publicize that because that does help drive the numbers. And again, big companies are really, really excited about getting behind this stuff. Let's talk a little bit about social media in general. And
Sure.
you do a lot. You mentioned that you have a following. I do too. But for someone that's not doing it today, or doesn't do a lot of it, what do you think would be some advice that you could give them to get them started? What do you think helps people to get motivated to do it? And here's a charity, and it's a reason to talk, but just as a business person, how do you get out of the blocks and really start developing content and an audience? What do you think?
That's a great question, Jeff. I wish I had an answer to it. No, but with that being said, there's obviously various social media platforms out there. And from my perspective, you could be great at every single one, but I think those people are an anomaly, essentially. Um, I think it's worth trying out a few of the various social media channels like a Facebook, an Instagram, a LinkedIn, a Twitter, and see which one you enjoy spending the most time on. And then once, you figure out which specific channel that is, it's just about being consistent, post as much as you possibly can. After a while, you'll start to see some patterns, what works, what doesn't work.
Hmm.
Um, and then after a while, you've uh, you found your channel, you found what works, and then you'll start to develop an audience. And then also, when you're out there networking, add them on that channel or all those channels. So then you start to build up your audience. So then you have more people engaging on those posts that, you're putting out there. And then that's how you really grow your audience. It's a lot of grassroots, you
Yeah.
know?
It's very much like that, and even for myself, it's like one or two at a time. So when you start seeing numbers going up into the thousands, it's very gratifying because you see how hard it is to really have a base like that. And I think for myself, I'm probably verging on near 3,000, and I see like such a magnifying effect of that because when I do things, the word goes out so far that it's really at scale when it gets exciting and you realize the reach that you could have. I think a lot of times what I run into is people want to do it and they say to me, I don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say. And I kind of coach them around, well, you have a lot to say, you just don't realize it. So I will tell people, kind of develop a framework where you say Monday you could do some kind of motivational thing. Everyone needs motivation on a Monday, right? So I do Monday motivation. It could be about a book, an article, a magazine, something like that. And then Friday, it's always good to give facts about your industry, facts about things that you personally know that you want to share with others. So you kind of have now bookends, Monday and Friday. And then I'll say Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is already not so bad, right? Now, on those days, experientially talk about what you're going through. Hey, I just went to a seminar. I just was on a Zoom call. I just was in a networking group. I just met an amazing client. Talk about the things that you're actually living through and document your life. Who says that what you're doing isn't interesting to someone else? It's very interesting. I want to know what other people do to make money. I want to understand what they're doing in their personal life. So to me, if you start talking about experience and sharing in a genuine, kind of open, honest way, it's very, very, interesting, and it's an exciting way to get rolling. And then what I tell people is, once you start getting a taste of it and you see people engaging with your stuff, it kind of is like a drug. You just want to do more of it. You want to meet more people. You want to talk about more stuff. So the real trick is you got to get out of the blocks. You have to get off zero. You have to do it. You have to do it consistently. You have to do it from a genuine place, and people really, really will embrace that, and they'll start responding to you. And I think that's the real magic of it. I think LinkedIn as a business community, it's phenomenal. I have learned so much off of the platform by being there, and really developed some amazing friendships over the last year. So it's great.
Yeah, yeah. I think that LinkedIn is huge. Personally, it's my favorite platform. I'm very addicted to it. As soon as I see one of those red notification dots on the app, I have a huge smile on my face, and it's really, really gratifying. And just to also, you know, this is another huge thing when you receive messages personally from other people that say how much they enjoy your content. That's really good motivation
Yeah.
to keep moving forward. And
Oh,
once you receive that,
absolutely.
that's huge.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the major mistakes and we were talking about it before in our call, is that, people put out content and people may start liking and commenting and they just ignore it. They don't respond to their audience. And if you follow a guy like Gary Vaynerchuk, which I do, and I know you do as well, what's the one thing that he teaches you? Or one of the many things he teaches you is you have to be engaged with your audience. He's like, if someone's loving your stuff, liking your stuff, commenting, return the favor, get involved with them, show them that you care. And that's really the social part of the network. It's not just throw a post out there and hope that people like it and then just ignore them. Show that you're really happy that they're engaging with your content. And I think you were telling me a story before, and I think we've hit it a couple of times, both of us now, where you're piling up thousands of views or likes on a post, and LinkedIn gives you a little message, hey, you're trending in the top 1% of LinkedIn. So talk about your experience with that, and how did that feel to you?
Well, Jeff, first and foremost, since you mentioned that prior to this call, I posted a screenshot of that on my LinkedIn story. So, needless to say, I'm very, very happy about it.
Good for you.
Yeah. So that specific post, essentially, I posed an open-ended question on LinkedIn. I said, "Do you feel that it's unprofessional to send out an email on the weekend?" And there's a few people that are on the fence about it, but what it does is it gets a lot of people to think. And then at the end of the post, I'll say, "What do you think?" So I'm creating that call to action. So I'm motivating people to give their insights and just to drop a comment, which will really, amplify that post out there. So, creating a call to action is huge within your posts for sure. It's huge.
Absolutely. So I'm going to put up your contact information here so the audience has it. We have your name, phone number, your company. So if people want to reach out to you, they could do so via these more traditional channels, phone and email,
Yes.
old school. But if you have any interest in working with Brandon, getting involved with his campaign, donating, participating in the events, definitely reach out to them via these channels. So Brandon, we're at the last part of the show here. This is what I call the final four. These are short form, rapid fire questions, but they're always fun for people. So I think always get great answers on these things. So let's go into it. So I love to ask people outside of work and outside of now fundraising, what do you like to do for fun? What gets you excited away from the job?
What do I like to do for fun? Well, now that I'm fundraising for a campaign, there's not a lot of free time, which I'm sure that you got to test you from last year. But I love to read. I'm an avid reader. Right now, I'm reading the book Thinking Fast and Slow. Really, really awesome. I love to hike and I love to ski. So
Those are great. And I think last year you actually got involved, if I remember correctly. You were doing a little marathoning or long distance running on behalf of Jillian's campaign. Is that right?
yes, I bicycled 50 miles, and prior to that, the longest that I bicycled was only 13 miles. So,
So that's a dedicated team member for sure. So this is a great question. And when you talk to successful people in business, people say, "Oh, well, they're always successful. They never had any adversity. They never had any setbacks." When you
sure.
when you think about your career so far, what do you look back on and say was a failure? What's something that you did and you're like, now I have the wisdom from that experience to say, "Gee, I wish I would have approached it differently," or what you learned from that?
Wow, Jeff. That's a great question. I probably would have switched my major in college. I mean, I graduated with a degree in criminal justice that I'm not really using, so I consider it to be a bit obsolete. Although I really did enjoy my time at college,
Mhm.
maybe something a bit more applicable, a business degree perhaps. So I'd probably say switching my major in college was,
Interesting. That's actually very, very sound advice for younger people watching the show. Is maybe stepping back and thinking about what do you want to do in life, or generally what you want to do, and trying to get some training or internship or exposure to those industries and try different things. So that is great advice.
thanks.
Um, how about what is your definition of success? What does success look like for Brandon?
Oh, Jeff. I love these philosophic questions.
Oh, that's why I throw them in. They always get the guests to think and to laugh. So that's why I do
yeah.
it.
So, what does success look like for me? Um, to have peace of mind, I would say, is huge. And to complain as minimally as possible.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's good. that's absolutely good. I mean, I think that generally speaking, I think people define money as success, and there's an element of it, absolutely. But I think happiness is my real definition of success. You could have all the money in the world, but if you're a miserable person, it doesn't really take you too far. So
Absolutely.
the value of personal happiness and doing things that bring you happiness. You know, after I finished up the campaign, and maybe even during the campaign, I would use the hashtag on a lot of the posts, purpose driven life. It's one thing to live a life, it's another thing to live with purpose. And when you see the importance of life in general and you treasure it and you approach the things that you do with purpose, it really brings you to the next level. So you're definitely in my purpose driven life fan club. You please use it on many the fundraising posts. It has an impact on people, believe me.
Yeah.
And then we're on the final question, and this will be another one that's thought provoking. But what's the mark that you want to leave, whether it be in business or in society in general? And you're a young man, but what do you think about that? What do you want to do with your life that will leave a lasting impression on others?
That's a great question, Jeff. You know, these questions certainly aren't 1 + 1 = 2. But it definitely causes you to think. I would say that a lasting impression I would want to leave on people is that when I walk out of a room, I wouldn't want to worry that they would speak about me negatively, that they would have, just great things to say. The other thing, I would like to provide them as much value as possible. You know, I I would love to give them 10 times the amount of value that they can possibly give to me. Like that's what I want to leave with people. And obviously to raise a tremendous amount for LLS and other charitable organizations in the
Yeah,
future.
no, it's a great answer, and I think I'm very much in that mode also. That belief system, I live it, I embody it. I think that I just had a great experience. I was in a book club. We read a book from Bob Berg, Burg, The Go Giver, and basically it talks about like giving to others and the importance of giving to others, and when you do that, how much it really elevates you. I will sit here very happily and tell you that since I did the charitable work, I really feel like God has been good to me, and I've met so many amazing people through it. I brought awareness to the charity like I intended to. It's opened up a lot of opportunities for me. So it kind of affirms to me that if you really take it to heart, it makes a difference and it will elevate you. It absolutely will. So, definitely on the tougher days doing the campaign, definitely carry that with you. That big picture, it's recognized, people appreciate it, and it will take you far. It's definitely a great experience. So you should feel very proud of your involvement. And I remember, you were one of the first people when they said, "Who do we need for next year?" When we were finishing up, you were right there raising your hand, and I was like, "Wow, this guy has got courage," because he just saw us go through a really tough time doing it, and right away you signed up to do it yourself. So
Yeah.
commend that, and I don't forget. I remember the people that go out of their way. So kudos to you on that.
Thank
So
you very much, Jeff.
you bet. We're coming to the end of the show. So thanks for being on. I'm going to just give my contact information again. It's Jeff Hawk. I'm involved in commercial real estate and property technology. If you need to reach me, 516-636-6600. Obviously available on all the channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, big in the networking group. So you'll see me all over the place, and appreciate the support on the show. And Brandon, thanks for being on again. It's great having you on the program. That's a wrap.
Thanks, Jeff.
This feeling's cool. the truth